Once upon a spooky season, when the air begins to chill, over cups of apple cider while carving pumpkins, we will share tales of ghostly trappings, apparitions that go on tapping, and of ghouls who go stalking. And tales we heard while on walking tours. Whether Mark Twain House or Seaside Shadows, this episode we are exploring the dark and haunted history of Connecticut, here on the Municipal Voice. The Municipal Voice is the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities podcast in collaboration with WNHH LP 103.5 FM. I'm your host, Matt Ford. As always, be sure to give us a like and let us know what you're thinking in the comments. CCM's Municipal Voice podcast continues to present a key forum on important state-local issues. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the consensus views of CCM or member municipal leaders. First, we go down the shore to Mystic to speak with Courtney Reardon. She's an author, storyteller, and the founder of Seaside Shadows Ghost Tours. Courtney, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, first off, tell us a little bit about who you are and your tour company.
Sure. So my name's Courtney McInville. I'm originally from East Hampton, Connecticut. And I've been running Seaside Shadows Haunted History Tours in Mystic since 2013. I wrote Haunted Mystic in 2014 and then Revolutionary War Ghosts of Connecticut in 2016.
Okay.
And Civil War Ghosts of Connecticut in 2021. So I've been documenting ghost stories and haunted history for over a decade in the region. I also operate tours nearby in Westerly, Rhode Island. I started Seaside Shadows out of a passion for history and mystery, and I just always had a fascination for bringing both the worlds of legend and folklore and history together, and that's what we do.
What drew you to Mystic as the place to focus on, I guess? Is it that much more haunted, or is it what's the draw of Mystic in particular?
Yeah, I think with the shoreline of Mystic, it was such a hub, being so close to New London, and also being so close to Block Island and Providence and all these waterways that are really integral for New England, and of course getting up to Boston. So you have all of these, like the famed history of the shipbuilders there. And what back in the day, waterways were highways. So really, if your waterways were active and this is where the boats are coming in and out of for trade or for war, this makes that region more active. So historically, just had so much to offer, but also it's beautiful and it's walkable and it still has that quintessential New England vibe to it. You can go downtown and cross the Bascule Bridge and look out over the river and see the old tall ships docked down at the seaport, and being able to really show people just a little glimpse of what New England used to be like was something that Mystic could offer, in addition to rich history and legends.
How do you balance, when you're doing your tours, providing good historical information with telling a good story? How do you make it exciting and a little bit spooky, but still, stay true to the stories?
That's a really great question. And I truly believe in a beautiful blend of history and mystery. And we're really lucky that many of our ancestors, all our predecessors here in New England, they have granted us legends and folklore through their storytelling, whether they documented these in journals, in newspaper articles where they had strange sightings, whether it was through oral tradition and those stories got passed on. And so we kind of adopt those stories that have been told or known in local lore or given to us by locals who just had a strange experience. And we look at the regular history portion. Are there events? Are there things that support these legends and folklore actually having some validation? What did they derive from? So we blend those two accounts together where we tell you the setting of the history. What was Mystic like at that time? Who were the players? Let us introduce you to them, get to know the people of the story, and tell you perhaps the tragedy that happened to them or the mystery in their life. And what are the paranormal accounts today? We let we let guests utilize some ghost hunting equipment on the tours. Oftentimes, can they catch an anomaly that maybe supports that this particular site is haunted or spooky? But it's really in our storytelling. We we want to bring those legends and folklore to life. Legends and folklore are part of
Hmm.
history. So in our storytelling, we try to do it in a dynamic way, so you don't feel like you're in history class. And sometimes I tell people there's nothing more haunting than the truth, and
Yeah.
I believe that. For us, we've grown and won awards and recognition, but at the
Hmm.
same time, Mystic has grown on
Yeah.
its merits
That's cool because
too.
you've been doing it for
So
over 10 years now, right? You said
yes,
since
we just celebrated our 12th year in Mystic.
you said you've been doing this for 12 years now, which makes you a small business owner, I would say. What's it like
Yes.
running a small business in Connecticut in general, and then more specifically, in the Mystic area?
I think ugh, it's a blessing and a curse. So
Hmm.
I think, it is the thing I love most doing in this world is operating my tours and writing my books and telling stories and being a small business owner. I feel like that is so definitive to who I am, and it's a project of passion. I do feel like operating a small business is constant work, and I think a small
Hmm.
business owner will tell you that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, she just goes out at night and tells ghost stories." It's no, you work all day, every day when you're managing a small business. I think for Connecticut, my hope as Connecticut starts to really step into trying to drive more visitors is that
Hmm.
we do invest more into our tourism. I think that that's something that, due to probably budget and a bunch of things beyond a lot of people's control, hasn't really been elevated the way it should.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more support on that angle of like offering more than just a couple attractions. We have some great attractions that are featured
Hmm.
a lot, like the aquarium, of whom I
Yeah.
love, but I would love to see more of a drive to visit small businesses, to experience these tours, to see more of a presence, out there in the world advocating for people to come to Connecticut. I
Hmm.
think that's something that's difficult, especially because we are in a state that is, pricier to live in, work in, play in.
Yeah.
It would be helpful to like really just show people what we have to offer and why it's worth it.
Yeah. They were not just the stop off in between Boston and New York, that there's a whole
Right. We
world
have
here.
our
Yeah.
own culture, our own history, our own things to do. We get a lot of ghost tour people who are coming up from New York City. They take the ferry from Long Island, or they drive up, or we're a stop on their way to Salem. And I appreciate that. But Mystic and us, we can be the destination too.
Yeah.
And I would love to, make sure we get that word out as well.
Well, thank you so much for coming to talk with us today. One more time, what's the website that people could check out to learn more about this stuff?
Sure, they can visit us at seasideshadows.com, and all our information about tours is right there.
That's very cool. Well, thanks for talking with us.
Oh, thank you.
You are listening to the Municipal Voice on WNHH 103.5 FM. Next on the Municipal Voice, we are headed to Hartford to get all the spooky details on the Mark Twain House with Rebecca Floyd. Rebecca, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
So you were talking to us from the Mark Twain House.
I am.
Many of us that grew up in Connecticut went there on field trips and stuff when we were kids. But for those who didn't or just might not have known, what is the Mark Twain House? I think of Mark Twain. A lot of us think Mississippi. What's he doing in Connecticut?
So Mark Twain actually spent more time in Connecticut than he did in Missouri.
Hmm.
When he was an adult, he visited Hartford on a business trip in the late
Hmm.
1860s. And after he married, he and his wife Olivia decided this is where they wanted to live,
Mm.
and
So
they
was he
bought.
already famous at that point?
He was just starting to make a name for
Okay.
himself. He had written a book called The Innocents Abroad, which was a huge success.
Okay. So he had a
Uh,
little bit of money and he wanted to buy a nice
yeah,
house.
and I
Okay.
mean, not to forget that Olivia was his wife was from money, so she very
Ah.
much sort of financed building this fancy house in Hartford,
Mm,
Connecticut. So they built this beautiful home in 1874 on the
hmm
outskirts of Hartford. And what was then, I mean, it was in the city limits, but then it was
hmm
really on the outskirts of town in the
Yeah.
neighborhood of Nook Farm. Uh, when they moved in 1874, Mark Twain, or Samuel Clemens, which is his given name,
hmm
he's about 39 years old. His wife is
hmm
29. They're starting a family. And in 1874, he's just sort of putting finishing touches on the adventures of Tom Sawyer, if that
Okay.
kind of gives you a
That's
little
about the
idea of
time in his
where
life.
he,
Okay.
yeah. And then they lived here for 17 years and they owned the house for 20-ish, yeah, for about 20 years. Yeah.
That's pretty wild. So they built it themselves. It was no one lived there before
Yeah, they
them.
hired an architect. His name was Edward Tuckerman Potter, who they had
Ooh.
learned of him because he designed another house in Hartford of friends of theirs, and they encouraged
Yeah,
him to hire the same architect.
that's really cool. So one reason we're talking to you right now is that it's
Mhm.
October and we're coming into spooky season,
Yeah.
and the Mark Twain house, among other things, obviously Mark Twain himself, but it's also known for being haunted.
Yes, it is.
So Mark Twain himself, it seems, was interested in some paranormal things,
Absolutely.
joining like the paranormal societies in London and things like that. Were there ghosts in his life in Connecticut? Like, did he think the house was haunted when he was there?
I've never heard anything like that. I've never stumbled across to
Hmm
something like that. He was certainly interested in he went to many seances in his life.
hmm
When he was an early journalist, he would part of his job was to go to spiritualist shows
hmm
and try to debunk them.
mm
But later on, as he and his wife suffer some significant family losses,
Yeah,
they do try to reach out to people and communicate with lost loved ones on more than one occasion.
yeah.
No,
I
but
think
is the house itself haunted? Never remarked on that. Yeah,
he never personally commented that,
yeah,
but it's been a bunch of ghost hunting shows and stuff now. So
yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about since Mark Twain's time? Kind of when did it first get reported that there might be something spooky going on at the house?
So for as long as I've worked here, which is a very long
Hmm
time, people have asked if it's haunted, and
hmm
we were always like, always said no, always said no. And even though various people said that they had strange experiences, but publicly we were always not haunted.
hmm
And then we decided we sort of changed our thinking on that as we learned more and more
hmm
um, from paranormal investigators. A local paranormal company actually reached out to our
hmm
executive director, and they said, "Did you know that people are reporting all their paranormal activities in the Mark Twain house on our website?" And could we come and investigate? And so that's where it really started to take off, where they came and investigated,
hmm
and then Taps through the Ghost Hunters TV series came back, did 2 episodes with us, and then
hmm
also did a Ghost Hunters Academy episode with us.
That's really
So,
cool. So like at some point, I guess the museum, the board realized that maybe these rumors weren't, something to be embarrassed about or to be shy about, but that it might actually be a positive in the,
right, and they
people are interested in spooky things. It's a
Yeah,
big
and
thing.
we the tours, there's no on the tour of the house, there's no special effects. There's no
Hmm
we're not doing anything. We're
hmm
taking you through and the lights are very subdued. You go up through the whole house. There might be another tour that's just wrapping up, but
hmm
basically you have just you and your little group are there for an hour in the dark almost in Mark Twain's
Ooh,
house.
okay.
And we'll tell you stories of Mark Twain's own interests, like we
hmm
talked about, and some of his experiences. But we'll also tell people what various staff and visitors have experienced, and a little bit about
hmm
the findings of the various ghost investigations that have happened here.
Yeah, that's cool. What are some of the findings that have happened that people have found
Oh,
investigating? Like,
even as recently as just a few weeks ago, there's a young woman in a figure of a young woman in a white dress who
hmm
gets seen sort of around the drawing room in the front hall, and
hmm
people, it will be so realistic that staff member will actually go and say, "Excuse me, you're not allowed to be alone in here,"
Hmm.
and we'll go say something, and there's nobody there. I think that happened just a few weeks ago. Various reports of people feeling like they've been like their clothing is being tugged or
Hmm.
that they're being touched in some way. Um, and lots of various sounds, and sometimes it's just a creak,
Yeah.
but it'll feel like a door closed when there's nobody there,
Yeah.
or footsteps above your head on
Now,
another
are there
floor.
theories as to who these ghosts are? Do they have names?
A little bit.
Okay.
So, the figure in the white dress, some
Hmm.
people would like to think is Susie Clemens. So Susie is Mark Twain's oldest daughter,
Hmm.
and sadly she passed away in the house. She died of spinal meningitis.
Okay.
And so her death is one of the reasons why they eventually come to sell the house, because it didn't have the
The
same magic.
memories
Yeah.
attached to it. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
So a lot of folks, and even some various mediums and clairvoyant folks have
Yeah.
felt very strongly that Susie was present. Uh, the other one that we have had some interesting interactions with
Hmm.
is George Griffin. George
Okay.
Griffin worked for the family. He was their butler. He was an employee, and he worked for them for 17 years and
Hmm.
managed their household staff and so on and so forth. And there's a great moment in one of the Hunters episode where they're, sort of communicating through the
Hmm.
flashlight going on and off, and that is could have been with George Griffin. Uh,
Yeah.
and then from my own experience, visiting when a medium came and visited and did some investigating, and I was
Hmm.
there to watch, where she insisted that Mark Twain was there, so that
Hmm.
he was literally just standing behind me. I couldn't see anything, but
Yeah.
uh, she had communicated with him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he might not be a woo ghost, but do you feel the spirit of Mark Twain in that house when you're there?
I think yes, absolutely, I do. And it's a beautiful place, right?
Yeah.
It is eye candy, and so there is something very magical about it. And we hear this again and again throughout the day, that visitors who have been to lots and lots of historic houses
Mm.
will come to the Mark Twain house and say that there is just a warmth here that they
Mm.
don't experience at other historic homes. Whether it's paranormal or not, people
Yeah.
definitely sense it. And I think some of the reasons for that is that the restoration is so stellar, it's so
Mm.
detailed, and there's stories behind so many things that people see in the house.
Yeah.
And he and their family, they left so much documentation. They left so many letters and receipts
Mm.
and thank you notes and things like that, so that we're really able to sort of tell these stories of what the house was like for
That's
a
cool. So
family.
you have a big archive of materials as well as the house itself.
Yeah, and even though the Mark Twain House doesn't own a huge archive, those
Hmm.
archives do exist.
Hmm.
So, like the University of
So you can
California
find
at
like what something
Berkeley.
might have looked like back in the day and those sort of things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are some photographs of the interior
Hmm.
from when Mark Twain lived here, and but there are just, and then the house itself is like a lot of the restoration is really like a forensic investigation, like
Mm.
literally analyzing paint drops and layers of paint and wallpaper and things like that to really
And
determine
trying
what it
to
looked like.
fix it in the same manner, like use the same
Bring it
techniques to
back using the
okay.
same techniques to bring it back to what it was. Yeah.
That's really cool. And you mentioned that people who have seen lots of historic houses, things different. What do you feel sets you apart? Because at least in my estimation, like I've heard the Mark Twain house many times. It seems like it's a fairly popular place to go in Connecticut.
Hmm. Yep.
But there's other places I've been, like the Dickinson house up in Massachusetts and things like
Hmm.
that,
Yep.
that are nice, but they're not quite as don't seem to have as much of a draw. You know what I
Right.
mean? Is it Mark Twain's reputation? Is it the facilities? Is it your programs? What do you think sets you apart?
So I think it's a little bit of both. Is that Mark Twain has, in even today, even it has enormous name recognition, whether whether
larger
you
than
are an
life kind
avid,
of, yeah.
right, whether you are a big reader of his work or maybe just have heard of him or seen a
Mm,
movie based on one of his stories. So he
yeah.
still has a significant presence today. Um, so and we hear this all the time where people may not have ever read anything by Mark Twain, but they know he's an important American author, right? They
Yeah.
might know that much. Um, and but also the house itself is striking. If you just drive down Farmington Avenue, you're
Hmm.
just like, where did that giant brick building come from? It's
Hmm.
just different nowadays anyway. It's different than anything else that's around it. So we're always struggling with what is the draw? Is it this beautiful space? Is it this name, this famous author?
Yeah.
He was also not just an author, he was a personality, right? He's
Yeah,
this
because I
persona.
don't think many people in America would recognize an image or whatever of many authors from that period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he was so photographed and he was
He's like
hounded
he's a character.
by
He's a
yeah, and
icon.
he's
Oh, in
followed
some ways
around
he's,
by the press. He was really one of those sort of
mm,
first really famous iconic figures. And
yeah,
he
he's like if
was
Johnny
very
Appleseed was a
recognized.
real person. Well, I guess Johnny Appleseed was a real person,
Yeah.
but
Right.
even
But
more of a real person, like with
right.
interviews and photos and
Like Johnny Appleseed, though, the myth has sort of like superseded the man
outgrown
himself.
the person himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we struggle with that all the time. Where does Mark Twain, the man, separate from this mythology that
Yeah,
has
I've
developed?
seen him pop up as a character in other fictional works.
He does.
The
He does. He
character
pops
Mark
up all the
Twain.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that we're very blessed with in that not every historic home is that
Mhm.
they left, like I was saying, so much. He wrote so much.
Mhm.
And this house is talked about in his autobiographical material. It's talked about in their letters. So, we can really dig in. And while the Mark Twain House doesn't own most of that, there
Mhm.
are tremendous archives throughout the country, particularly at the University of California, University of Virginia, and things like that, that have significant Mark Twain papers, though. So we're
Mhm.
able to return to these documents.
Yeah. So at CCM, obviously, we're concerned with the towns and cities of our state and how they operate. How is the Mark Twain House kind of part of the fabric of Hartford?
So, well, it is one of the most visited attractions in Hartford. If you Google what to do in Hartford, Mark Twain House and Museum is
Mhm.
going to come right up, if not the top, at least, in the top three of your search.
You and the
And
Wadsworth, right?
yeah, yeah. And there are people who come from every state in the country and from all over the world who come to visit. That's another thing that is special about Mark Twain is he's not just an American icon or not
Mhm.
just in the United States, but he is often more read by people who live outside of the United States than he is by people in the United States.
Yeah.
He spent so much time abroad and he traveled so much, so he had a sort of global recognition. So we're
Yeah.
really lucky about that. So it brings, thousands of people to Hartford who also come and eat in our restaurants and
Mhm.
go to other museums and shop in these stores. And so it brings a lot of people to the city of Hartford.
Yeah, I imagine. Um, do you have any sort of special relationship with the city or the schools in Hartford?
So the not specifically with the Mark Twain House is a nonprofit
Okay.
organization. So we are funded entirely by grants and by donations and
Hmm.
by what people spend to come and visit. Quite frankly, the
Yeah.
ticket revenue is what we rely on most. Um, and but we do, our director does meet with the city. We're always working on it. What are their partnerships that we could be
Hmm.
developing? We have the presence with the schools is really, really important to us. With the pandemic,
Mm.
field trips just stopped. So, and this year is sort of the first year that we're really starting to see that turn around again.
Really?
That
It took that
teachers,
long?
yeah, and a little bit of marketing initiative on our own part,
Hmm.
but I think, gosh, what was the number? Our inquiries about school visits have just increased by, I don't know, something like 62% over the same time last year.
Wow. I'm surprised it took
Yeah.
that long though to kind of get back because it
It
seemed like
really has.
restaurants and a lot of things,
Yeah.
is a year or two there, but then it's like, all right, it's open, everyone to go out.
Right.
But
And even
sounds like,
even overall visitation hasn't quite bounced back from that time
Hmm.
for us. It's getting there, but it has taken a long time. And I think schools in particular really struggle. There's been schools that they're not allowed to go on field trips.
Yeah.
And even right now, we're not sure that all the inquiries will pan out. We hope that they do. We have well, with a federally funded civics education program that we
Hmm.
partner with other museums in the area, and
Oh,
that
that's
has been
cool.
a draw.
One thing that I noticed when I was looking specifically at the spooky stuff you had going on
Yeah,
is that there was special nighttime ghost tours, which I know you said were already fully booked for this season. But could you just
right. Although,
tell us a little
yeah.
bit about them?
Okay, so it's a guided tour of the Mark Twain House where
Hmm.
you come, but it's different material than we would share with you. You know, in the daytime we call it our general tour. It's a lot of fun. We
Hmm.
tell lots of family stories, but we sort of switch up the material, and we're really going to talk about some of the spooky stories, Mark Twain's
Hmm.
interest in the paranormal.
Yep.
We do tell some sad stories, you know, because ghosts mean people
Ghosts, they're
died.
tragedy, yeah.
Yeah, and Samuel Clemens did suffer some significant losses, so we do share those stories. Um, and the lighting is subdued. It takes it a little over an hour
Hmm.
to do it. Sometimes people have experiences on the tour. We also
Yeah.
sometimes will take a moment to use dowsing rods to see if we, if, with this group, can
Ooh.
actually sort of communicate with the spirits.
Hmm.
And it's hugely popular. I mean, we're saying you know, what does it do? The population of people coming to ghost tours is very different than the
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap, but like it
Yeah.
reaches out to a different audience. And that connection through ghost hunters, there are people who plan their vacations around places where ghost hunters investigated. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean,
we get to
there's
benefit
ghost
from that.
tours all over
Yeah.
the country now.
Yeah, it's a
Although,
huge success.
I see a lot of them usually. You see them outside, but I don't know many that are in a specific house.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
this is just all inside the Mark Twain house, and we did add one more date because they're so popular. So
Oh,
we
nice.
added Saturday, November 15th.
And there's
Uh,
still tickets out at this
and
point for that one?
that we just put them on sale, so those are now available. We have some other spooky activities going on
Oh,
though.
what else is spooky that's happening?
So we have, in fact, it's this Friday, it's October 24th,
Hmm.
it's a writing workshop because at the Mark Twain House, we also want to support writers of all
Yeah, that makes
stages.
sense.
And this is with, it's called Tarot and Poetry,
Hmm.
with the instructor is Victoria Nordland. She is the poet laureate of Glastonbury, Connecticut,
Okay.
and a longstanding teacher of creative writing in Connecticut. And she will do a workshop with some writers, but your writing will be based on tarot cards and your inspiration by
Ooh,
tarot cards. And
that's really cool.
yeah, there's still about several spots left. There's like 16 spots left.
Hmm.
And you will also, after your workshop, come into a room in the Mark Twain house and work
Hmm.
on your own piece of poetry in one of the rooms in the Gilded Age mansion, which is
Oh, that's
really
really cool.
special. Yeah.
Right where
And
Mark
then
Twain wrote. Yeah.
Right. And then you will also get your own tarot cards read as part of the package. So
Yeah.
that should be a lot of fun. And then the other fun thing that we have, we do seasonal uh, um, craft glass workshops. So it's a
Hmm.
mosaic glass, and
Okay.
they're always seasonally inspired. So on Saturday in the afternoon, you can come and make it's a ghost
Okay.
mosaic glass activity. So you get to kind of take your
But in the
project home
summertime, you
with
might
you.
have one where people could make flowers or something like that.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. And, you know, at Valentine's Day, it's something, you know, hearts and flowers and things like that. So it changes
Yeah.
with the season. And those are always a big success with the
Hmm.
instructors, Kelly, and people love that. Yeah, and her name is
So
Kelly.
there's workshops and learning opportunities outside of the regular museum's
Yeah, we have
programming.
things going on. We also have a significant author talk program where
Hmm.
authors out there right now will come and they'll talk about their latest book and sign books and answer
Hmm.
questions and things like that too. We also honor authors that are writing in what we've come to call the American voice, because you know Mark
Hmm.
Twain is credited with sort of creating an American voice. So
Yeah.
who is out there? Who is a writer of fiction that's out there right now? who is writing in a way that is truly telling sort of American stories and using American vernacular.
And carrying on that kind of tradition that he started in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we present an award for that each year. And that award celebration is coming up. Ben will speak about his new book. He'll read from it, and he will be interviewed about his work and
cool.
and be
So,
presented with his prize.
The audience have opportunities to ask him questions during that?
Yes, usually the talk, they'll interview him for a little while, and then they'll open up the floor to the audience.
So you said that information on that and the other things are on your website.
Yeah,
What is your web address?
marktwainhouse.org.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
marktwainhouse.org.
And you can click on the events. There's right across the top of the page, and it will list all of the things that are coming up.
I assume there's stuff going on year round. It's not just
year round. We are
season.
open year round, and the general tour of the Mark Twain House and our special living history tours are year round every day. During starting in January, we close 1 day a week on Tuesdays, but right now we are open 7 days a week, and tours are sometimes every 15 minutes on some days.
Well, Rebecca, it's been great having you come talk to us today about the Mark Twain House and all the spooky things happening this season. Thanks for talking to us, and keep up the good work, I guess.
You are so welcome.
We'd like to thank our guests. The Municipal Voice is a co-production by CCM and WNHH 103.5 FM. Joe Thornton is our executive producer, Christopher Gilson is our producer, Harry draws on the boards, and I'm Matt Ford, your host. Be sure to check out our Facebook page and give us a like, and watch out